Hey everybody, this is Flavio Romeo, and this is episode 18 of the Towncast. And today we go down to Goffle Road in Hawthorne, down to the one of the most famous bakeries in certainly in northern New Jersey, if not all of New Jersey. We go to talk to Rispoli Bakery, and we had the chance to catch up with Gabrielle and Peter Rispoli, and they share their the history of how the bakery started in 1937. And they've been carrying out the traditions and the recipes ever since. So I think you guys are going to enjoy the episode. And make sure you listen, because at the end of the episode, she offers a nice little discount for people that come in. So I want to wish everybody a very happy Mother's Day coming up this Sunday. And if you don't know what to get for Mother's Day, there's always a good Italian pastry. All right. Be well, everybody. All right, everybody, here we are. We are in the kitchen of, if not world famous, certainly New Jersey famous, Rispoli Bakery right here in Hawthorne. And we've got two actual Rispolis, right? We've got Gaye and Peter Rispoli. Thank you guys so much for doing this.
Thank you.
I mean, this place has been around since 1937. Forget about that place in Hoboken, the Cake Boss guy. This is it. We're destined to have the Rispoli show. We're gonna have you guys on the Food Network. We're gonna make this happen.
Okay.
So I know you guys have been around since. Obviously, you guys haven't been around since '37. But tell me a little bit about the history of how the whole Rispoli Bakery got started.
So, my grandfather came over.
What was his name?
Gabrielle. I'm named after him.
Oh, nice. Okay.
He came over probably in the late 1920s.
Came over twice. He came and went back, and then came back.
Where did he come from? Where did he
Naples.
Napolitan.
Yeah.
He's a fellow Napolitans.
And when he first came over, well, he worked on the cruise ships a little bit.
He was a merchant marine too.
And
okay.
And then when he first came over, he worked in a hat factory. And
Where?
I believe in West New York.
West New York. Okay.
And then he opened up Rispoli Brothers pastry shop with his brother Peter.
Who I'm named after.
Oh, is that right? Okay. It's such an Italian thing.
Surprise.
Yeah, my grandfather there were four brothers, Gabriel, Peter, Patsy, and Salvatore. And Peter and Gabriel opened up Rispoli Brothers. And I don't know how many years, but the bottom line is the brothers split up. My Uncle Pete opened up Vesuvius pastry shop then in Fairview.
So how did they get involved from the hats to pastry?
Well, Peter was like the master chef.
Oh, he was the guy.
He brought my grandfather in, from what I understand.
Right.
And anything that I talk about is stuff I've heard, obviously.
Yeah.
And some stuff I may even be a little misinformed. That's why I have my eldest here. But he was the one who really taught my grandfather a lot of what he knew. And he was so talented, my Uncle Pete, that he would change stuff.
Oh, really?
He would always change stuff.
Like add stuff.
And my grandfather took his little notepad, and back then in those days he was only making for the day, 8 or 12 pieces. So if my uncle told him, put 6 shots of lemon and 3 shots of cinnamon in something, my grandfather would make notes of how many they had left when they did that recipe. And then when he would change it, then he'd be like, oh, put 3 shots and 5 shots. He would switch it.
Oh, try a different recipe.
My uncle was doing that constantly. Enough.
Yeah.
So my grandfather just, it was a little scratch pad, would write, okay, when we did this one, we sold everything. When we did this one, we had 6 left over.
So you could tell which one people really liked. And people,
right.
Okay.
And even in my father's recipe book, certain things, that's the oven, certain things he would circle. There would be a bunch of notes, but the one that was the one he
that's the one.
He'd circle.
Yeah. Do you guys still have those old recipe books?
We do, and I had it in my bag but I think I took it out. I left it home.
Yeah, all right. Well, we're gonna see if we can.
Yeah,
see if
it's
we can ever
very
get pictures
interesting.
of the recipe.
And
Cool.
the handwriting is so fancy because it was from Italy and everything was script and the pages are falling apart and but it's probably
that's a lot of history.
It's a lot of history.
So I'm gonna ask, when you go back home, take a little video.
Okay, I'll
and
send
then
it
we're
to
gonna
you.
try to splice it into this
Okay.
video. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, it's all in Italian and that.
Now, was Peter doing it? Was he doing it in Italy?
Yeah, he was.
He was, okay. So he learned it.
Yeah, he was. I believe he was in the. I want to say he was in the Navy, possibly. He was definitely the guy.
Yeah.
So I remember hearing stories about, and Gaye would know better than me. I was just a little turd. But he would come in around. My brothers would tell me he would come in around the holidays and
make special stuff for us.
Right.
Really?
Yeah.
And because my grandfather, because I believe Uncle Pete outlived grandfather.
For sure. Yeah. My grandfather died. He was 62. I mean, I was only 10.
Emphysema.
And but my Uncle Pete.
Smoker, poor ventilation. In the 30s and flour in West New York. No air conditioning. I mean, they were ahead of their time as far as. Well, listen, we pride ourselves in keeping an open view of our workspace because back in the 30s when my grandparents opened, that we've always prided ourselves on that.
Yeah.
We were, ahead of my grandparents were ahead of their time. My grandfather with being able to look into a clean kitchen, see what's going on,
and see it from the. That's what when I first came in here. That's what I noticed, and I love that. And I also noticed how amazingly clean this place is, considering how much you guys pump out.
And honestly, I mean, if you'd ask her or me, it's not as clean as we'd probably like it, even though it is clean.
Yeah. That's sticklers.
Yeah, it's like some stuff is just embedded, indoctrinated in our thinking, in our DNA.
All right, so your grandfather starts it. Where was the first store?
5211 Burger Line Avenue in West New York.
Where are we from? West New York.
West New York.
863-3364. I still remember the number.
I still remember the number.
It's crazy.
I still remember my number when we moved to Jersey from Italy.
Now I have a little bit of resentment. I have to say this. I shared it last week. That my nephew's here, Gaye's son, Patrick. I've heard so many stories about West New York, Burger Line Avenue in the 40s and the 50s, going up.
60s and 70s.
Right.
Then you're born.
Right, and then we closed.
Moved, right.
We closed in 1979.
That store.
Store.
But when you hear anybody from West New York talk about West New York, it was a beautiful place to grow up.
West New York. That's how you have to say it.
Yeah.
West New York.
And you know what? It's interesting because there are so many customers that come in here in Hawthorne today and talk about West New York.
Is that right?
It's
so funny you say West, because most people will say West New York.
West
New York.
West New York. All right, hey, and, West New York.
It was just, I wish I was around for it, because if you didn't know I wasn't around, I'd probably make it sound like I was there. That's how much I know, or how much I talk
the stories
about.
you heard, right?
Burger Line Avenue, trolley car, the people running around, the chicken market next door.
Well, it's a very walking neighborhood. So
yes.
everybody
walks.
Everybody walks.
Everybody walks.
Yeah, I mean, that's why my sister and I, we laugh because, we don't have that foot traffic, right, at any of our locations. Years ago, when you look at pictures, we have them out front of my grandfather in his kitchen in West New York.
Yeah, we're going to get to it and show some.
We have his showcase, biscuit business, loaded with biscuits.
And no preservatives then.
Right.
But
people were coming in for, she has the experience of being there and knowing firsthand. I don't. People will come in, 2 biscuits in a bag, and keep walking down Burger Line Avenue.
That's it, just something to eat while they're walking.
They had Italian ice.
Nice.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember hearing stories about my grandfather doing, $300 on a Saturday selling Italian ice at 3 and 5 cents a piece.
Wow.
In the 40s.
That's fortunate.
The bus would stop.
I don't see. Even if you're downtown Hawthorne, downtown Glenwood, there's still, people aren't walking that as much anymore.
No one really does. Kids don't even ride bikes like that.
Yeah. All right, so you closed that store down, and where did you guys open?
So then my father bought.
My mother had found a piece of property. We gotta talk about mom too.
Yeah. in Richfield, and it was a big, like, 4-family house on Broad Avenue, and I don't know.
Commercial zoning.
Right.
Ah, okay.
And
So is that what you guys
bought a piece of property and then knocked it down.
Like four blocks in from Route 46.
Okay.
Right on Route 5 and Broad Avenue. And then in 1980,
November of 80.
right before Thanksgiving, we opened up. And so when we were in West New York, on a Sunday, I was the only girl behind the counter because the area had changed a lot and it wasn't that busy. But when we opened up that first Thanksgiving, it was like the business was night and day.
Really?
So
In Richfield.
In Richfield. And
What do you mean by that? Because
like I was the only girl on a Sunday.
In West New
in West New York, and then you probably needed, 8 girls.
in
Oh
Richfield.
wow, that's how busy you were.
As soon as we opened the doors, we would just.
Wow.
It was great.
Now, were you guys
So I
living
had
in the house?
no.
while you-
We lived a couple blocks up the hill.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, and they had always lived up. We had always lived. So like when my grandparents lived in Fort Lee.
Well, we did live above the bakery. Everybody did, except for Peter. No, I'm teasing. No, my grandmother,
See,
my
she's
father.
taking shots at
No, my
the baby, and of course I'm still getting picked on.
Our father. No, my
You're always the little brother.
My grandparents, and they lived upstairs from the bakery. And then when my parents first got married, they lived upstairs,
Sal and Fran.
and I lived upstairs with my 2 Sal and Francis. We're all 1 year apart. And then when I was like 3, we moved to Richfield, and then that's where.
Yeah, I think my grandmother and grandfather gifted my mother and father a house for their wedding.
I don't even know.
726. That's what I was told.
Anyway, and so then we lived in Richfield. We went to school in Richfield, and then we opened the bakery in 1980. Yeah, we and in the time between when we closed West New York and opened Richfield, we had cannoli manufacturing place. We just manufactured
Yeah.
frozen
Really?
cannolis. Yeah.
Is that why you have the shirts? Right, you got to show. You got to turn around and show them the shirt. One of the best.
Is the right one, guy?
Yeah, I saw. I saw it
I
before.
wasn't sure.
Here, slide over a little bit. Look at
Oh,
that.
no.
Huh? Leave the gun. Take the cannoli. That's perfect.
That's the old shirt.
What's the right say?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but different shirts.
We have different shirts. Like the
whatever.
the worst cake you could buy is a wedding cake or whatever.
right.
The most dangerous.
The most
cake.
dangerous food to eat. Wedding cake.
Anyway, and then we opened up in 1980 November, and the business grew, and
I mean, yeah, we were. I can speak for I speak for us.
Peter was born in
We were
1979.
we were fortunate, that, and my father was fortunate to have, now you got to remember, I'm born in '79. At that
I'm
point,
18.
she's 18. My brother Sal's 17. Francis is 16.
You were the little brother.
So yeah, and then
you were like a nephew.
yeah, I was like a son.
a son.
Son, yeah, you're right.
And my father had, his children. He had bodies.
He had free help.
Right, he had bodies.
And my
How
our
many
grandmother.
siblings are there?
7
Seven. Wow. And you all grew up
in the
I
bakery.
mean, it had to be. How was it as a kid? It had to be like a kid in a candy store.
Listen, it was good times.
It was always. I mean, I know and I can speak for us. That it was. I always wanted to be there.
Everybody wanted to be
I
there.
always wanted.
Right.
Everybody.
Man, I'm not
Why
just
do you think I'm here? I want to be here.
Our friends, we had still to this day, all the workers that worked for us are still our friends to this day.
That's great.
It was.
That's a testimony.
Yes,
That's a testimony.
absolutely.
And that is a testimony, to my grandmother, my grandfather, my mother, and my father, and to Gaye, and my brother Sal, and Francis. Like, this guy Angelo Severino comes in Richfield, and I haven't, there were some hurdles and some obstacles in my life, and I remember Angelo Severino coming in one day over the counter, and I was filling Schwedel, and he goes, he saw that I was back, and he goes, "It's nice to start at the top, huh, Peter?" And at that moment, it might have made, bruised my ego for a second, but when I start to think about it, I've been very, very, very fortunate. God has blessed me with, an ability, to provide for my family. and love and support, from my sister and my other brothers and stuff, and my wife today. So yes, I have been fortunate for the hard work that my grandmother and my grandparents put in, and my mother and father, and the groundwork and the foundation that was laid.
Yeah, but you what a lot of people think, oh well, you inherit the business from your parents.
Yeah.
No, you have to work just as hard, if not harder.
It's worse.
Yeah. People don't.
No, we have very hard. And you know what?
My grandmother used to give her maiden name when she would go places. True story.
Wow. I only did that when I would get into a car. No, when I would get into a car accident, I would give my married name.
Why?
How often does that happen?
Why?
Because I wouldn't want them to think, oh, Rispoli, we're going to sue them.
That or my grandmother, like people would either think that people would want to give stuff away, oh no, take that. You know what I mean?
Right.
And my grandmother would make her feel uncomfortable. I'm talking about the dry cleaner, stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
But there was nobody more generous than my grandmother and listen, we are my father and mother, my grandparents raised us to be very generous to the community, to our workers,
Yeah. Well, and that's why it goes back to the fact that people that worked for your parents, that still are friends with you guys.
Oh,
yeah.
That's testimony to how they felt.
I mean,
working there.
It's a family atmosphere. I mean, we eat lunch at these tables, like this. Yeah. And if you came in,
you get it at Yella's?
Huh? Sometimes, but a lot of times we cook though.
Oh, no? Oh, do you
and eating around the holidays?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
First of all, thank you to every family, friend that always comes in and gives us food to eat. Because we have certain people that we know, when's Mrs. So-and-so making this and when she's making that, and what day they bring it. So thank you for the past and in the future.
No, a lot of food.
Yeah, I mean,
come our way.
But we cook, but for instance, if we cook today and you came in just to get a cup of coffee, I would instinctively say, "Oh, we're eating. You want some? You want some pasta? Yeah. You want what we're having?" Because
that's definitely an Italian.
That's just who we are. Some people I'm like, "Why are you worried about if I'm eating?" And I'm like, "I don't know. That's just the way I was raised."
Do they really respond like that?
Not so much here, but sometimes when I'm like, "Did you eat?" But I'm like, "I'm not eating breakfast. Why are you worried?" And I'm like, just like
I'm not worried.
Food to me is I want to make sure people are, are eating. That's how I like to.
Well,
and if you bring us a pot
it
of
comes
something,
back, yeah.
We always fill it up before we give it back to you.
Yeah.
That was something my grandmother. Don't give it back empty, ever.
Yeah, that was always the thing. I mean, anytime you never left anywhere hungry. You never showed up. If you showed up hungry, you definitely did not leave
hungry.
My mother used to, I'd walk in, when I was younger, 11, 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock in the morning. And even when I was working, and I'm an adult. Not that I'm out partying. I'm an adult, and I come back from traveling or whatever. Are you hungry? No, Mom.
It's like Goodfellas. It's 3 o'clock in the morning. They're going to pick up, to borrow the knife from Tommy's mother, and she's making potatoes and eggs.
Exactly, comes out with a whole meal.
Right.
Yeah.
I'll fix you something to eat.
Yeah. She was also the one that you look in the fridge and it's like there's nothing here. 10 minutes later, you had a frittata with everything in the fridge that was about to spoil, but didn't.
No waste.
You put it right back in the frittata.
No waste.
Absolutely. I know all that.
So, all right, you open up the Richfield store, right? And then you have a couple of stores. Is that store still there?
That's I would say, and this is just my opinion, and Gaye can, agree or disagree. West New York was our, historic location.
Yeah.
But I would say Richfield is our flagship store.
Yeah. And that's still there.
Yes.
So since 1980,
Yep.
It's still there. And who runs that store?
Our brother, Chris.
Yeah. So when my father, got tired enough one day, and my brother was older, I was too young.
And I'm a girl.
Well, you're the only girl.
No, we have a sister who lives in Pennsylvania.
Okay, so is she involved in any of the...
Well, listen,
she's emotionally involved.
We're all emotionally involved.
Isn't everybody emotionally involved?
She played a a huge role, right, in parenting, right? Or she was my two older brothers, you know. So we're like two families in a way, right? So there's the older three, which is Gabrielle, Salvatore, and Francis. Marisa is in the middle.
In the middle. She's the middle child.
Right. And then there's Christopher, Matthew, and myself. So Gaye, Sal, and Franny, they were working. And Marisa.
And our mother.
Right.
So, and Marisa then was the babysitter.
Right.
So she was
put
home.
Doing laundry.
Cooking.
Right.
Watching them.
Yeah.
Right. Picking me up from school, you know,
Right,
all
she's
that
watching
stuff.
all the three younger ones. She must have loved it.
She was probably pretty, you know, she got like the perks of like, you know, going from Atari to Nintendo though, you know, because we got all that stuff that they didn't have. You know? And
yeah, they grew up with Palm.
yeah.
Actually, you didn't even play it. You were working.
You worked a lot.
And yeah, so Francis, my father,
Sal left. Sal moved down to South Jersey, opened up his own store.
right, in the
Pastry
80s.
store.
Yep.
Yeah. In the late 80s, like 88, 89, right?
Yes, right, because I
Right
got
after
married
you
in
got married.
'88. Yeah.
Is it still down there?
No.
No.
Sal's passed away. And,
Oh, I'm sorry.
And
And then Francis took over and
in 99, 98, 99.
something like that. And my
Father-
my parents moved down the shore. The little ones
Well,
moved
prior
with
to
them.
that, I have to say this because it's important. My mother and father, before they sold it to Francis, Gaye and Franny were running it for 8-9 years together. It was my father. We had moved down the shore.
My father bought a marina. He opened
Yeah.
up a marina in Tom's River.
Wow, that's a
Sal,
switch.
our brother Sal had the bakery. He
In
had a lot of
Bricktown.
different,
Oh, was
different
it close?
locations.
Yeah.
He was the one location was in the marina because it was a big piece of property.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And so we were down there. My dad was like taking a back seat, you know.
Right.
But my grandmother was
Semi-retired.
always there.
Yes.
She
Yes.
was there until like the day she died.
Really?
Yeah.
Like, oh, you could say that.
Well, I see every once in a while when I'm here, I see. I think it was your aunts.
My
Oh, yeah.
my
Your
grandmother,
aunts
yeah, our aunts.
Yeah. They come in. It's like your stereotypical Italian grandmother's gonna come walking in. Beautiful.
So she was always there, and so then, you know, you come from a typical Italian family. So where if you're a girl, you get married, your husband's supposed to take care of you, right? And you're not, you know, you moved on. And
Yeah.
my father arguably made a hasty decision. I think he made a good decision, but it was hasty. And
With the marina.
no, with selling it to my brother.
Oh, okay.
I'm not saying it was a wrong decision, and I only know it was hasty because he expressed it later on that he shouldn't have done it.
Right.
And then whatever. It's
How old
whatever.
was he when he did it? Do you remember?
My
Young.
brother, my father.
Yeah.
Well, he was born in 40,
So
so
he
he's
was
57,
Yeah, he was
58.
young.
Okay.
You know.
It was.
he was too young.
Yeah.
He was too
Yeah.
young to even
But he had, you know,
semi-retire.
he had like, you know, for lack of a better term, you know, made his bones. You know, we lived, you know, a good middle class blue collar life. You know, we did, and
He was just exhausted. It's done.
yeah, you know. Plus, you know, Gaye has informed me about this. There was, you know, that there was he worked with his mother every day for, you know,
He was with
40
his mother
years.
every day, his whole life.
His whole life. Every
And
day.
like when he was moving down the shore, I was like, Dad, why are you leaving us? Because I didn't think that they should go.
Right. Wow.
And
I mean,
he said to me,
that's hard enough.
No, he said to me, I have to separate myself from my mother because the day's gonna come, she's gonna die, and it's gonna be hard for me. And I was like, oh my God, like I didn't think about that, but I kind of get it.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, now that both my parents are gone,
Yeah.
you know, like I kind of get it. And anyway,
that's
so they moved down to Tom's River, and then when the holidays they would come back up and help out.
Or
And
call for money.
and then whatever. Then I was out of the picture.
Right. You know, and then, listen,
Yeah,
you know, it wasn't.
whatever. It was fine. And you know what? It was fine. At first, I was devastated.
right.
But then
Understandably so.
I started to have a life with my husband and my kids, which I never had before.
right.
And it all worked out. And
Yeah, I think that it was what it was. You know, hindsight's always 20/20.
Right, of course.
You know what I mean? And at that time, as a man, I understand a little bit better now today. You know, when you make a decision, it's like when I have something set in my mind, it doesn't matter. You know, as a human, I'm going to make that decision no matter what anybody else thinks.
Right.
And then you
Yeah,
live and learn.
and you've processed it, and you've gone over it in your mind over and over again. You think it's the right decision to make, and then
Right.
it
And
may
I don't fault, because I don't fault. I don't want to be faulted, so I don't fault any man for making the decision, whatever that looks like.
So he makes the decision. He
Yeah,
goes down,
the
buys the
decision.
marina.
Yeah, he buys the marina. Well, he had the marina prior. You know
Oh,
what
he did,
happened was
okay.
he was out of the loop. Business was starting to change. The lobster tail really started to.
Well, that's one of your signature pieces,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. The lobster tail really. My father would tell me he didn't need the lobster tail, right? At that time in the 80s and the 90s.
Right, right.
Because, it was the other items were carrying the, load.
Cannolis.
Yeah, cannoli, cookies, cakes.
So from what I hear, the lobster tail is always great.
Yeah, that has definitely been a blessing. My brother Francis one day just, my father played around with it, but like I said, he didn't need to do it, and he didn't have the time to do it at that particular stage. Schvoyedel was the king of the pastry, and and he had a
It's
lot.
time consuming.
Yeah,
Yeah, it takes a lot of time.
and then when he was away, Franny started to play around more because now my father's out there. Franny has free range to do what he wanted to play around, experiment. And one night, honestly, the shell of it was no secret, right? But it was the cream
what
that
goes inside.
my brother one night, it was just serendipitous what he did. It was just he did this with that. I'm not telling you.
And that was it.
And Gaye was
that's
there.
the
With
magic.
Gaye was there with her girlfriends hanging out.
Oh, did you try it?
Well, that night she was there and he was playing around.
We used to hang out in the bakery all
Yeah.
the time. We used to go to the bakery sometimes before we would go out at night, come back to the
Back
bakery.
to the bakery.
After
yeah,
we
yeah.
were out
You
drinking.
see that in a lot of movies. Why not?
Oh, it was.
We should put a black barb on my eyes so no one knows. Yeah, but that's what happened that night, and I wasn't there. But it was almost like,
Was it magic?
holy shit. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was. And
obviously-
shout out to my
what
brother.
did you do?
Shout out to my brother Francis.
you go.
Love him and appreciate him a lot.
And he did it. He came up with the cream.
Crazy.
Yeah. You guys,
My father
get
couldn't-
emotional when you talk about
I
it.
did,
Yeah.
and my father couldn't deny it.
But he didn't.
You couldn't deny it because they were
That's
they
what they
were
were
asking
coming for.
for it.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
he didn't like it.
right.
But it goes back to when your grandfather was taking notes, saying you had this is where we sold out, and this is where we didn't. This is where you gotta stay.
Franny told me the one time, and look, I'll tell you from my experience, as much as I love what I do, or who I am today, this place can be dangerous because it does fuel my ego. Having that control that I think I have, right?
Right.
So, my father, oddly enough, right, when my grandfather would come in and tell him what to do after my father took over, my father would tell him, no, this is my store. This is how I'm doing it.
Right.
Now, here's a guy who gave him, taught him everything.
Right.
And now
And
my
it's
father,
his time to
now
make
my
his
father,
balls.
right.
Yeah.
And then so when Francis, started doing lobster tail, he couldn't deny it. And people came in.
Did it make your dad think about how he was with his dad?
I doubt it. My
Yeah.
father,
No.
no.
He
my
wasn't
father,
that introspective.
No. My father was typical, old school Italian.
yeah.
He was
Only
just
son,
only
the king.
son, right? And
I was the only son.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
The oldest.
Yeah. Wow.
born on King's Day, by the way.
Yeah,
Oh,
January
yeah.
6th.
Really?
And interestingly enough, people will come in when the lobster tail thing started to, look, when it started to really take off. First we started on the weekends. And then it was like, and then my father was like, yeah, but if they're coming in for lobster tail, they're not going to buy something else, right? So there's always like that, what
Right.
what do you do here? Because the lobster tail that pastry is the most laborious product, period. It takes
the longest to make.
2-3 days to produce.
Is that right? Really?
Yeah.
That could be another day to come in and video that whole
Yeah,
process.
absolutely.
Yeah.
2 days. Wow.
And so he had but he couldn't deny it. He couldn't deny it. And then obviously it took off, and that is definitely our most popular item. I would say in volume, cannoli is we sell the most in volume, but the lobster tail has been a great addition to our product line, and I'm grateful for it.
Yeah. All right. Well, here we are. Now you're in Hawthorne, right? So, what made you pick Hawthorne? When you were looking around, if you're going to open another store?
I was looking around. First of all, I wanted to stay in house. Like I really wanted to stay working for my brother, and maybe do something smaller. But I guess God had other plans, and started to look around for some spaces. And what attracted us to Hawthorne, I think, was the fact that it wasn't on top of Richfield or Emerson, the other store, and that it was right off of the highway. Goffle Road, is a busy road. You got Goffle Farms down the road, which people always come there. It just kind of made sense.
Nice.
The square footage was right.
Yeah.
The price was right.
The parking.
It had everything we look for. If there's any,
And it's close to a lot of towns.
right.
Yeah.
It was really it just made sense. And when I started looking at Hawthorne, I just kind of got a good vibe about Hawthorne. It felt like people just. It felt like people like Hawthorne, like they
The family.
yeah.
And honestly, like,
And a lot of people that are from Western New York or from Bergen County, like people, right?
I have
people
friends.
progress,
Yeah, and I have a lot of friends in the area that
Right.
we grew up within Richfield.
okay.
Right.
So,
okay.
but so like I said, we are close to a lot of towns, and I have to say, like, we opened up in July, and then we had sickness and death, and we had to close
We'll talk
down.
about that in a second.
But I have to say, I've been telling you since we're here, the people are so nice and happy. Like I told somebody, we're here since say February 1st. Maybe 3 people have come in here with a puss on their face.
How do you come to a pastry shop with a mug on your face?
No, but everybody is so awesome here. The cops,
They even had a mascot.
Hawthorne
They even
cops,
had-
the
how about
cops
that?
are amazing.
Yeah.
No, the
Shout out
cops-
to Hawthorne PD, always there for us.
The customers, the people are just very, very nice, good people here. Friendly, warm, appreciative, very
Yeah.
appreciative.
Well, and I tell you, this is a town where they like good product. And I always tell people the same thing. If the product is good, they're going to come back. And if the people are nice, they're going to come back.
Yeah.
Right.
But if the people are nice and the product's not that good,
They're not going to come
they're
back.
not going to come back.
Listen, I understand. I mean, that's one thing that we always try to instill, in our teaching, or our employees learning, is customer comes first, and you just be nice, because
That's it, just be
it's
nice.
a lot easier. You get more bees with honey.
And this is the thing too. Like we're talking pastry here. We're not talking brain surgery, whatever. Like this is and that was the thing with when my father opened up the marina. He was used to customers coming in, getting pastry, leaving happy.
Yeah. Oh, the
And
marina.
always coming back, and then with the marina, it was a nightmare. A nightmare. I mean,
Because
people are not
nobody's
happy.
But
Nobody's
first
happy.
of all, they're not happy about how much money they're spending for the boat,
That's right.
then the marina, and the slip, gas.
Yeah. And in New Jersey, we have 4 months the most to enjoy it.
Right,
So
right.
it was.
It's just constant misery.
Yeah,
But this is people, like I said, people they're visiting, they're having a celebration. It's all positive.
yeah. I mean, we do cakes and cookies, for all types of events or affairs, and My sister is very talented. She's learned a lot of stuff. Like we have a Rispoli way of doing things, but there's obviously a lot of other ways to do things.
Right.
And we don't deviate from anything that. I remember when it was yesterday.
That's not broken.
Yeah, I remember like it was yesterday. Someone said, "Don't ever change." My father said, "As long as we can get the same ingredients, we'll never change."
That's the thing too.
And as everybody out there knows, the world's changing a little bit. With certain things that so you have to adjust. And not deviate. And we stand by that.
Yeah.
We use fresh ingredients.
Same
we bake
recipe.
from scratch.
Yeah.
We bake from scratch. We use whole milk. We use whole eggs.
And everything you have in the counter, that's all made in house. I mean, you're making all that, the cakes,
from the
cookies.
from the chocolate on the eclair, everything.
It's all made in house.
Yeah, well, we have a very simple product line,
Yeah.
and we try not to deviate from that. We try to accommodate our customers, with whatever they're looking for. We're just doing what we do and do it well.
Well, I remember growing up in Hawthorne, we used to have a place called the International Bakery.
Okay.
I'm sure a lot of you guys listening, watching, you remember the International Bakery all the way down on Gaffel Road, all the way down, almost near where Enterprise is, but Triangle, used to be the Triangle Diner, Hawthorne Diner. And that's the place my mother always went because they had homemade S cookies, they had a lot of what you guys, a lot of the traditional.
There's a lot of Italians over here in North Halden.
Yeah,
Hawthorne,
absolutely. Yeah, a lot. And and then it was gone. And then there was no place to go. So that's why I was happy to see you guys. I know you opened up last year, and then which is hard enough opening up in the middle of COVID.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, I wanted to come in, I want to talk to you guys, and I see everything's everything's locked. So what happened? What happened during that time?
So I I'm going to be candid.
Sure.
I'm going to be myself. I speak from the heart. My sister and I were always supposed to do this, and my father was helping me, do it. And then it kind of just got a little polluted, it just did. And in all fairness, and for her mental, let me say, I come from a family, where mental health is an issue. It's not always dealt with in the healthiest way, and I speak about that for myself. Mental health runs through my family, and
I think it runs through everybody's family, one way or
it does,
another.
but it's talked about now more.
Yeah, that's right.
Years ago it was
And thank
you
God
go
for
to
that.
work, and that'll fix your health. That'll fix your
Right,
brain.
yeah.
And for you know what, that's not the truth. For me, it's not. And that's just not my truth. So anyway, there's some things that are some deep-seated beliefs, with my father, and then which have rightfully so, it becomes hereditary then. That my father thinks a certain way, and my brother thinks a certain way, and then I think a certain way, and that's all I know. That doesn't mean it's right or it's healthy, but
Right.
that's what I knew.
Right.
So anyway,
Creature of your own environment.
Gabrielle, my mother always said it's a gift and a curse to bakery, because it is. And so Gaye elected to not get involved for good reason, because my father was just supposed to be on the side, and then he was like, thinking he was opening Richfield again.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it turned into
Really?
that. And she stepped away, and at that point, I was in. Like, the lease was signed, the equipment was ordered.
For this store.
Yeah.
Right.
And it was tough. I was going through my own mental health stuff. I'm a recovering alcoholic, and this was challenging for me. I was questioning my sobriety. I turned my back on God, and I was running on ego and fear. Period. There's no other way to put it. I was being ran by fear and my ego, and I blocked God out. And now I'm searching for external solutions for an internal problem.
Right. Yeah.
And I thank
Well,
God.
obviously, you have some clarity on that now.
Yeah,
You didn't see it at the time.
No, because it's delusional.
Yeah.
Right? Oh, I got the house, car,
Yeah,
wife,
smoke and
kid.
mirrors.
It is. And that's what, I then saw what my sister saw, where she was like, I'm going to back off. And I had to step away. I had to go take care of my mental health.
So that's when it shut down.
And my
My
father
father-
regrouped.
my
My
father
father
tried to keep it
tried
open.
to keep it going,
But
and-
he was 80 years old,
Right.
81 years
Heart
old.
disease, and
And he hadn't worked like this forever.
It became very trying on my home life. You know, it was compromising how I was a father, compromising how I was a husband, compromising how I dealt with my day-to-day life. And like I said, I'm a recovering alcoholic. So typically, you know, I don't always handle things the best way. I'll leave it at that. So
he tried. He
tried. And
it was too much.
It was too much. And I kind of was like feeling myself where I was like, well, I was supposed to be the one running it. You weren't even supposed to be involved. It was supposed to be her and I. You're supposed to be on the sidelines, you know, just
supporting us.
Yeah. And then it became like,
he's the boss.
I didn't know what I was doing. We don't need her. It was a little ugly.
Oh wow, really?
Girl, I'm the girl again.
Girl,
She's
she's
gonna
such
hold
an
on to that
old
for a while,
school
but it is.
Italian guy.
It is, you know. But you know,
girls are not supposed to be.
You're not supposed to speak.
Right.
Yeah.
No,
listen.
you can work, but you just don't open your mouth.
Okay. Yeah, I could see where some mental health issues
So
come into play.
Yeah. If I had my
and
phone,
listen, I appreciate you sharing that story. I do appreciate.
Yeah, and so my father then got sick as well, because then I was like, well, you know what? We're partners. I don't got to be here. You know, my ego was really turned up to the max. And that wasn't the best decision, and I ended up, stepping away. It was the best decision for me at that moment, and I felt like I was doing the right thing for me and my mental health and my sobriety. And we closed the door. And then my father, passed away in early December, the first 2 days of December 3rd. He
And
passed
that's just
away.
this past December.
Yeah.
Yeah, my condolences.
And
Thank you.
and then it was like, what are we doing? Because it was like,
Yeah, because it was closed for.
yeah, October, until February, because we wanted to open for the holidays, but I wasn't,
You weren't ready.
I wasn't doing without her.
Yeah.
Right. I made that mistake once, and I said that to her. I remember calling her.
I was on vacation.
No, but I remember calling her from the bathroom here, like, Gaye, please, like, just come, like, I'll take care of Dad. Like, I'm delusional. I'm not taking care of him. Like, but I'm scared because I can't do it without her. He's like, people are quitting. It was nuts. And at that particular moment, honestly, I put my hands up. I said, I'm out. Here you go. I'm done. Whatever equity I had, I'm out. I'm not doing that. Like, I had to take care of Peter first.
Right.
And it was the first time in my life that I stood up for that.
You did that.
I had to. Because this shit excuse me.
Nah, it's all right.
This doesn't matter.
Yeah.
If I'm not taking care of myself mentally,
Yeah,
emotionally, and
can't take
spiritually,
care of anything.
nothing else.
Can't take care of your
I'm not a
family,
good brother.
your work.
I'm not a worker amongst workers, right?
Yeah.
I'm not living a good life.
Yeah.
And so I said, here, you know what? Do what you got to do. I'm out. Lo and behold, he passed away, and part of our operating agreement was that it was left to me. And I didn't know what I wanted to do. So we spoke about it, with other siblings, and my sister and my brother-in-law Randy we lost Randy in February.
Sorry to hear that.
Listen, the alcoholism and the disease, of addiction, is alive and well.
Yeah, it's so real.
And it's touched a lot of people, and my therapist tells me it's the one disease that kills people who don't use drugs or alcohol. Because I have watched this disease, run through a lot of friends and family who don't touch a drug or drink. And so they were really supportive, and Gaye was on board, and because I had the choice now. All right, either chalk it up, empty it out, and move on, or
Open the doors again.
open the doors again.
And you did.
And we did. We we're back to plan
And
A.
it was this past February.
We're back to plan A, and
We opened up February, and
it's been very
challenging.
it's been challenging, but it's
I'm
been
sure.
good because
Well, yeah.
we don't know.
Anxiety and
Yeah. Well, you don't know.
We don't know what we're going to do business-wise, so please come out and support us. I mean, we thank all the people who do support us already.
Spread the word.
Like us on Yelp, Google, all the, the platforms. We need all the, love and support out there, So we thank all the people that have been supporting us, and please just continue. We love what we do. We love to serve our community. We welcome, all towns to come in. We love being a part of Hawthorne. And it's been good. It's just been challenging, because I only know one thing, right? I only know the business in Richfield, and so I have to keep my expectations grounded.
Like my husband said, this is not new for you, but it's new for this area.
Right, exactly. Yeah, so you have to think of,
and don't get me wrong,
you can't set the bar where it's always been set. You got to start at the bottom and slowly build that bar
and
up.
And listen, and there are a lot of people that don't know about Rispoli's.
Yeah, they will now.
Well, yeah.
Right.
And thank you to you for coming in, and it's just been it's been a journey, and I have to embrace and be grateful for the process.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly. You can't get to here without going. You can't go from here to here without living all this in the middle.
And I mean, I'm sure it's gonna be great here.
Yeah, it will be.
Yeah,
it will.
I mean, it's been a few months, and listen, if you guys don't know where it is, we're right on Gaffel Road. We're right next door to Yella's.
Shout out to Yella's.
Yeah,
really working
West
on
New York. They're from West New York.
Yeah,
they are from West New York. I know.
And,
I know. We talked to Joe. Did you talk to Joe? Joe Lorenzo.
Joe. Yeah.
So my mother introduced their parents to each other.
No.
Yes.
Are you serious?
Yes.
Your mother introduced Joe's
Mary
parents
and Joe
to each other.
Yeah.
And then they got married.
Yes.
And then they had Joe, and now he's got
Joey,
the shop right
Johnny,
next door to you guys. What are the odds?
Mary.
We're blessed, and they've been great. And John, the guy who manages and runs it over there, shout out to him. The staff over there is incredible. I kind of like all the sandwiches. The chicken fingers are really on top of my list over there. The milkshakes are good.
I like that Louisiana. Was it the Louisiana?
The hot chicken sandwich. It's always good over there. So shout out to
But there's
Yella's.
a lot of food in this strip mall.
Yeah, I know, and
We got sushi,
and it's elevated.
Yeah.
It's elevated. I mean, the quality of the food in the strip mall now. It used to be a Pizza Hut.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah. And being an Italian, Pizza Hut's you might as well
Not
just
pizza.
eat dirt.
I hate to say it, my father liked Pizza Hut every once in a while.
Did he?
He liked the crust, that the greasy oil. He did.
So here again, Gaffel Road. We're in the strip, right across the street. We had 1086 Cigars right down the street.
Oh yeah.
Right across the street. We had them on the. Actually, they have
What's his first name again?
John Carlo.
Yeah, John
They
Carlo.
have
He
their
came
grand
in.
opening tomorrow.
He wanted to. I
Saturday.
gotta reach out to him. If you talk to him, he wanted us to do something. To supply some stuff for him for his night thing.
Absolutely.
Because we're closed, and while he's
yeah.
open, so we gotta remember that.
Yeah. I'll put you in touch with a great guy. They have the grand opening tomorrow, Saturday. You guys are going to see this. Hopefully, you're going to be at the grand opening. That happened
come
2
by,
days
John
ago
Carlo.
from when you're hearing
We'll
this.
support your grand opening. If you need pastry for the grand opening, we'll donate some stuff for the people over there.
Yeah. I'll call him right after this.
Yeah, please do.
So make sure you come down. Now, I'm going to ask you. One of the things about the Towncast is I love to support local business.
Yeah,
and I love the people of the community, not just Hawthorne, Glenrock, North Hale, and Prospect. It's all about family. It's all about togetherness, and I'm big on. That's the whole reason why this thing started during the pandemic, is because when you started seeing the stores close.
Yeah, man. And
They
we
didn't
were
do anything
fortunate.
wrong.
I have to say, I'm sorry to cut you off. We were open every day.
It's an essential business.
We were open every day.
became essential.
I mean, who doesn't eat cannolis?
And it was very emotional time.
yeah.
It was very hard time. It was scary, but
it was
because
scary.
the people were so happy that they
And
could.
it made me appreciate what we do
No, it was-
more. It did. Because it was like, it really grounded everything, because everything was grounded.
Yeah.
Right? And here we were, thank God, able to still go to work every day, still provide for our families, provide a service for the community. And then that ripple effect, the workers who were able to still come to work and provide for their families, their kids, it's a big...
Yeah. So that's why we did this, and try to encourage, the local people. Because if the local businesses go away, let's see, they go away.
Right.
And then our taxes end up going up because we don't have that revenue. So So I'm going to
We don't want that in Hawthorne. They're pretty high already.
Yeah, exactly. So we're happy to
I
see
live in
you
Hawthorne.
guys.
I live in Hawthorne. I know.
Yeah. So we want to encourage everybody that's listening. Listen, guys. I mean, it's not just pastries. You guys have a great espresso bar, cappuccino bar.
Yeah, we have bread. Right now we're implementing focaccia, Italian bread.
I saw that.
Yeah, we
tadal.
tadal.
You
Yeah,
like
we have the
tadal?
tadal. We have different tadal. And
I know,
we
we
support
do, yeah.
local.
We have
get it
delicious
from
coffee.
we get it from Clementi Bakery too. I got to give them a shout out to everybody over there. We're doing it on the weekends. If it grows to more, yes. And Tony, our coffee guy. That's it. It's Tony, the coffee guy.
Of course.
We got the best beans. The best espresso. We got a good machine here, and
It's Mother's Day is right around the corner. We've got a week left to Mother's Day. If you don't know what to get your mom, this is the perfect place to come. Gay's going to hook you up. They've got a lot of great Mother's Day treats. You saw some of the images that we put up there. They've got some great cakes. They've got some great cookies. And I'm going to put you on the spot now. So if someone comes in and says, "Oh, I heard you on the Towncast. It was great. I love everything you guys are doing. It looks delicious." Is there something that you can offer the listeners, the viewers?
Absolutely.
Tell them.
If you come in and you say you saw us on the Towncast during the whole month of May, we'll give you 10% off and a free cup of coffee. How's that?
10% off and a free cup of coffee. And listen, if you bring your kids, what do you do for the kids?
Oh, every kid leaves you with a cookie.
How do you like that? This is a family tradition. It's been going on since 1937. Any child that walks in this place gets a free cookie. All right. So
in honor of Mother's Day month, come in and you get 10% off. Just say you saw us on the Towncast.
there you go. So come in, get your stuff for Mother's Day, and after Mother's Day, keep coming in because they've got some delicious food. Thank you so much, Gaye.
Thank you.
And thank you to
And
Peter.
thank you to everybody.
All right, guys. Be well and have a great Mother's Day. And happy Mother's Day to you.
Thank you.
All right. Be well, everybody.
Bye-bye.